Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host Gershwin and you were watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about Bloodthirsters as we get into Skarbrand the Exiled one. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K lore videos every single day. Don't forget to hit the little bell notification icon to stay updated. And if you enjoy our content, thank our patrons on Patreon. It's because of them that we can do this. Link in the description if you guys want to support. So with that said, let's get into 40 facts on Skarbrand the Exiled one. Skarbrand the Exiled one is a bloodthirster and a paragon of violence, a whirlwind of bloodshed and destruction, in whom the blood god Khorne once rejoiced. Nations were smashed to splinters by Skarbrand's mighty axes, and the armies of other gods quaked and quailed at his coming. It was Skarbrand who destroyed the first palace of Slaanesh and killed Nurgle's greatest Poxviathan. In a great battle with the mightiest of bloodthirsters, he received his demonic axes, slaughter and carnage, which were imbued with the spirits of his defeated enemies. For these deeds and many others, limitless glory was heaped upon him. No demon had served the blood god more faithfully, or shed more blood than Skarbrand. The mighty bloodthirster once led the greatest of Khorne's demonic legions, slaughtering untold millions in the cause of murder. Worlds were left ravaged in the wake of the carnage created by this greater demon, as well as the realms of the other chaos gods with equal rage. But foolish pride proved to be his undoing. Tzeentch, the Lord of Change, had noted the aptitude of Khorne's favored slaughterer, and through his guile and manipulative whispers, fueled Skarbrand's flame of hubris into a raging inferno against his lord. Through Tzeentch's schemes, he continued to change the skin of the bloodthirster's fate, goading and taunting the demon lord into committing ever greater acts of bloodletting. He stoked the creature's rage into incandescent fury, until Skarbrand took up his axe and struck a blow against his master when Khorne's attention was elsewhere. Though a mighty blow that would have felled any army, the bloodthirster's strike merely opened a minute chink in the armor of the blood god, attracting his desolate gaze. Enraged at his servant's actions, the blood god's anger was terrible to behold. Khorne snatched up the wayward bloodthirster by his throat and proceeded to shake him until all that remained of Skarbrand's personality and thought had been driven out, leaving only the burning rage that had powered the fateful axe strike in the first place. After dragging the greater demon to the pinnacle of the brass citadel, he held aloft the bloodthirster for all within his realm to see, an example to all who dared to challenge his rule. Khorne then hurled Skarbrand across the realm of chaos. Skarbrand blazed a trail of fiery destruction for 8 solar days and nights, a rage-filled meteor flying across the realm of the chaos gods, leaving scorched devastation in his wake. When he finally crashed to a stop, the demon lord carved a great canyon with his landing. His leather wings tore asunder by the force of the impact. Exiled for eternity and frustrated, Skarbrand bellowed his wrath towards the heavens. Because of Khorne's attack, Skarbrand has been earthbound, his wings wrecked by the brutal impact that saw him carve a furrow through the realm of chaos. Once mighty wings, they are now tattered remnants, with ragged leather stretched and tore between broken spurs. Lengths of spiked chains span the sorrowed ruin, piercing the spine to keep them from unfolding further. Within the breaks in the torn flesh, cracked shards of bone are visible. The blood god knows no mercy and will grant Skarbrand no remorse, regardless of the unfathomable carnage that the outcast bloodthirster can cause in his name. Despite an age of battle, Skarbrand still bears the wounds inflicted upon him when Khorne cast him out of his domain. It seems likely that he will never heal. Skarbrand's torn face, bared skull, broken teeth, and cracked horns all speak of the blood god's ire. He then set upon an eternal path of slaughter that would dwarf all the bloodshed that had come before it. Spurred on by his mindless betrayal, Skarbrand has become the embodiment of wrath incarnate. Bloodshed and war inevitably follows wherever he treads. Oceans of blood have been shed in the name of Khorne with his legendary twin demon axes. Roused only by the anger that spurs on his betrayal, Skarbrand exudes anarchy and death, and where he treads, bloodshed and war follows. No loyalty or logic can defy Skarbrand's aura of destruction. No cowardice survives the overwhelming need to slay. But all this slaughter is for nothing, for Khorne has no mercy in his black heart. Skarbrand's exile is eternal, Yet Skarbrand continues to serve the Blood God more loyally than ever, despite his tortured banishment from his lord's realm. In recent history, Skarbrand has appeared several times in the material universe. On those occasions, he has created untold carnage and destruction in his wake. In the early years of the 41st millennium, Skarbrand appeared on the doomed Imperial agri-world of Geistos during the lamented Geistos Cataclysm, when the Vorpal Sword Space Marine chapter attempted to relieve the beleaguered forces of the Imperial Planetary Governor at the Governor's Fortress, where his forces were besieged by a horde of demons. They were attacked by Skarbrand the Exiled One. Skarbrand appeared on the Cadian-held fortress world of Lutriel's Epsilon. His berserker rage infected all he surveyed, driving the Imperial Guardsmen defending the planet to turn on each other in an insane frenzy. On the next occasion, the Bloodthirster faced Lord Commander Dante, the chapter master of the Blood Angels chapter, in single combat. The valiant Astarte clove the mighty Bloodthirster in twain at the gates of Pandemonium, banishing the greater demon back into the warp. Even in his banishment, however, Skarbrand continued to serve his lord and further the ends of chaos. He played a crucial role in the shattering of Craftworld Baltan when he made a pact with the Mask to attack the forces of the Craftworld on the corrupted maiden world of Ursula. Skarbrand made it aboard Baltan through the corrupted webway portal of Ursula, but was defeated in battle and banished back into the warp by the Craftworld's avatar of Cain. He later fought a titanic duel with the resurrected Primarch Guilliman aboard the Blackstone Fortress in the Maelstrom, as the Primarch sought to reach Terra during the Terran Crusade, after he was freed from captivity by Cypher and the Veil Walker. Skarbrand and his demons had disagreed with Cairo's Fatesweaver's plan to keep the Primarch alive but in prison, and launched an assault on the Blackstone Fortress to claim Guilliman's head for the Blood God. Fateweaver and Skarbrand chose to put aside their mutual disdain and allied to prevent Guilliman from escaping the Star Fortress. Guilliman managed to defeat the Greater Demon only as a result of the sacrifice of the Black Templar's Emperor's champion, Marius Almeric. Since the opening of the Great Rift, however, Skarbrand has moved erratically across the galaxy, his sheer fury manifesting into terrible warp storms around him. He most recently was one of the demonic commanders of the Coronet Blood Crusade. In battle, Skarbrand is still seen wielding a pair of demonic axes. Trapped inside each one is a greater demon of Khorne, its power and rage added to Skarbrand as he uses them to hack and chop his own way through the foe. That he could bind such powerful rivals to his will is a testament to Skarbrand's once transcendent power. The strange metal of his brazen axes had been warped and twisted by the demons within them, eyes leering out from the blade with malicious intent, the axes possessing a thirst that could only be slated by blood. The origins of these fell weapons harkens back to the day of yore, when Skarbrand carved a gore-ridden trail of victories and rose to lead the Blood Legion of Khorne. He continued to forever seek out the next challenge worthy of his martial attention. At last, after slaughter untold, only the greatest of his fellow bloodthirsters remained as worthy rivals. Thus Skarbrand sought them out, and at the Battle of the Infernus Plains, he overpowered even the mightiest of his rivals. As a conqueror, he stood atop the piled dead, capturing the soul stuff of two of the most powerful of the defeated, and binding them into his weapon. Thus were born slaughter and carnage. To this day, even the anointed demon hunters of the Imperium fear Skarbrand. The Grey Knights might have the arcane war gear and psychic mastery required to vanish the demons of chaos, but against a being as powerful as Skarbrand, only terrible violence is enough to halt his carnage. And those were 40 facts on Skarbrand. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, thank our patrons on Patreon. It's because of them that we can do this. Link in the description if you guys want to support us. It's $1 a month. Thank you ahead of time. If you can't, just by sharing it helps out the channel, so thank you guys. Skarbrand is probably the most badass GW model for a Bloodthirster in my opinion. They have had some pretty cool looking Bloodthirsters or Demons of Khorne in the past, but Skarbrand I think is my favorite for sure. Check them out if you haven't done so. I'll probably end up picking one of these guys up at some point just to have as like a collector's piece, paint him up really nice. It's going to be badass for like a D&D campaign, or if I ever decide to start a demon army, it would be nice to have him there. But If you guys have suggestions for other topics, comment down below, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. This is Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate signing out.